what you want, and then I will make it real indeed. Don't say time to go. No, I know you got some to spare. We've been fighting feeling when it's obvious that we both care. So take me to the moon. I wanna be with the stars. Send me into orbit. Oh, send me into orbit.
Hey y'all, hey. Do y'all know where y'all at? It's the Sensual, Eccentric podcast. You are tuning in to the intellectual soapbox. Oh my gosh, we're here back at it another week yet again. Oh my gosh, I'm going to say this every week. I am extremely proud of myself today. I got this burst of energy, this burst of happiness. This is week number 14. Oh my gosh. I need a round of applause. I am so proud of myself. I'm doing so well at being consistent. Thank you. See, that's on point right there. Look, for me to be consistent is a chore. Grown people don't like chores. Like we couldn't wait to be adults, so nobody could tell us what to do. So of course we're gonna have chores, but we do our chores when we want to, right? That schedule stuff, man, I am a free spirit. So same time, same place. I love vibing and kicking it with y'all. It's week 14. We have had a plethora of topics. Some very memorable moments. I even lost my cool on one episode. That was crazy as hell. If you guys have not followed the channel, like, subscribe, share the videos, request topics if you want to. Join us whenever you can. We love to see y'all. We love to hear from y'all. We love to kick it with y'all. This is the Sensual Eccentric podcast. Look, I'm a very eccentric being. I'm a very sensual being. I deal with a lot of stuff. Some of the things we have talked about. I did a little preparation this afternoon. First time ever. I wrote some stuff down. So it's not all straight off the top of the dome. If y'all been with me from the beginning, y'all know I don't prepare for anything. I go and I flow. But some of the things we have talked about here on the Sensual Eccentric podcast, we've spoken about healthy relationships and what healthy relationships are. If I'm not mistaken, that was the very first one. I think I wrote them down in order. That was a great topic. We talked about what is love, how do we perceive it, and yeah. Now, a big one that was like really, really interesting. It got a lot of traction. We talked about high value men. Y'all like topics like that, don't y'all? Talked about high value men. What is a high value man? Where to find them? And how do we value them? Because a lot of people, you hear people talking about a high value man, but are we really valuing them? That was a great one. We discussed what people's type and their desires and their needs are as far as relationships and how they should be working in harmony with one another. That was very insightful. I was Sometimes I'm in teacher mode. I be spreading the information because I'm a life coach. I need a little bit of coaching right now. Just thought I was gonna get to that a little later. I was thinking earlier today I need to coach myself because I've been going through some ish. I'm gonna let y'all know how that goes and when I'm gonna start that ASAP. I just started journaling last night, so I'm looking forward to my next level in my growth because sister girl been down now. She been going through some things. Other topics we've talked about. We've talked about the delusion with design aware. Now these are my words now, okay? Because this is my show, and these are my thoughts. So there was a topic that said the delusion with design aware, and how it defines a person. That was a really, really great one. Go back and watch any of the episodes, comments. Y'all in for a treat. Some good stuff. It's the intellect. Look, it's the intellectual soapbox. We get intellectual. I'm waiting for the day that I get a little bit ignorant and really bam, show my black card. Because I'm multifaceted. I told y'all I got several different personalities. We talked about, this was a good one. We talked about lust. So the difference between lusting, longing, and yearning. That was a great one. We talked about enlarging your imagination. One of my favorites, oh my gosh, and this one was so like revealing for me. And I didn't have like an epiphany or my coming to moment until probably like going into the next show after this one. But we spoke on the topic, when is enough truly enough? And I didn't know how much I needed that. Dealing with letting go and all of that. I got some more topics lined up about letting go and detaching. So many wonderful things to speak about. We talked about sexual freedom versus sexual promiscuity and the difference. We spoke about double standards. We spoke about pick me women, and we spoke about mental illnesses. I got a little bit of a cold, y'all. I ain't gonna wanna be going all in my nose doing like that on camera, or maybe I will. That didn't look too bad as far as I can tell. And so today the topic is, since we're all caught up on previous topics discussed, today's topic is drum roll. Wait, no, I can't even pat on my leg. Drum roll. Procreation. This one is, well, all of my topics are near and dear to my heart. I've said that before. But procreation and how much is too much, or how many is too many. Now I'm gonna try to take my time and cover a lot of different bases with this, because what I really wanted to say was, or narrow it down to, baby mamas and baby daddies, specifically baby daddies, because I'm a woman and I got a lot of baby daddies, and women that got a lot of baby daddies, we get the side eye. I'm pretty sure some of y'all side eye me like right now, like, well, you got a lot of baby daddies, and do. I do. And when I say a lot, I really do mean a lot. I got a lot of baby daddies. And I'm not ashamed. I used to feel some kind of way about it. I'm not gonna say, but it is what it is. It's a beautiful thing. I have shared space and brought life and into the world with several different energies. We're gonna get to that in a little while. Greetings and peace to everybody that's tuning in. What's happening? Thank y'all for sharing space. Um, you are welcome to watch and comment. You are also welcome to join the panel and come up and share your thoughts on screen if you want to. Now, on screen doesn't necessarily mean show your face, but I love to interact personally with people and hear their voice. And I can't see the comments because y'all, I'm broadcasting off my phone right now, and so the comments be real small. It would be a blessing to me and so much help if you guys are willing to come up. If not, that's okay too. But just know that I might not be able to read your comments. Okay, so don't get mad. Don't take it personal. Even with my glasses, I can't see. It is way too small. But I love y'all. Thank y'all for being here. Okay, so let me slow this train down and make sure I'm making the stops that I need to make. So, in regards to procreation, how much is too much? Because society puts so many different different differentiations. I don't think that is a word. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. I'm not gonna try to say that word again. But so many, whatever that word is, on how many children is too many children. Dang, you got a lot of kids. Dang, you got a lot of baby daddies. But y'all know that's what happens when people have sex, right? Some people really out here living their life. Like, we doing it, we getting it in. And when you're in a committed relationship, now let me say this: just because somebody has multiple partners or children with, I'm gonna keep a hood. Just because somebody got a lot of baby daddies or a lot of baby mamas, don't mean that it was fluky flings. Because some people might think like that, like, you out here having sex with any and everybody and getting people pregnant or having babies by these random men and da 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 this and da 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 that. No. Um, some people are just great procreators. Y'all ever thought about that? Some of us are just like, excuse me. Some of us are just like fertile. It just happens. Now the sex doesn't just happens, but the miracle of life, shebang, it happens. Now, the thing is, I understand that we need to be careful and pick and choose who we procreate with. But if you're in a committed relationship, and I may be getting ahead of myself as far as the order that I wanted to go, but I'm gonna just go with it. Uh, if you're in a committed relationship, me personally, and I'm talking about me, I'm not going to be in a committed relationship with anybody I'm not willing to marry or have children with. So, I trust my journey. I trust the universe. I trust my life's paths. A lot of people may think that is a little insane, but it is what it is. I don't believe that anything that happens to me is actually happening to me. I believe that it is happening for me to help me to grow, to teach me a lesson, um, and just to steer me in the direction that I need to go. Having a lot of children, whether it's by a few people or several people, it's parenthood. Why do we devalue, and I'm gonna talk about women specifically. Why are women so devalued when they have several different children's fathers. Like seriously. Not the typical answer, baby daddy drama. Cuz every man that a woman has children with, it doesn't mean that he's not he doesn't have to be an absentee father, but what if we're having children with mature men? I have never, and I can honestly say this, never, ever, 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 from one relationship to the other, have the person that I am currently dealing with had to deal with any drama from my exes. Never, never. I have never had baby daddy drama. Never. I told y'all I got a lot of baby daddies. Y'all ready to hear how many? 8. Shall I say it again? Ocho. The 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 infinity side going straight up and down. 8. I have 8 baby daddies. Shocking, huh? No baby daddy drama. Now, out of the 8, let me say this. Because I have been pregnant 9 times by 8 different men. So because of that, I have 8 baby daddies. But I only have 6 living children. So out of the 6 living children, 5 of those are by different men. So 6 living children by 5 different men. But I have been impregnated by 8 beautiful specimen of men. Why did I just do my mouth like that? Like I wasn't telling the truth about the Oh, look, the face don't lie. They wonderful specimens, okay? Because I ain't never had no baby daddy drama. But so there's never been any drama. But why do we devalue women that has multiple children with multiple men? Does what from somebody's perspective that feel that way, does that mean that we're not making great choices, that we're not good stewards over our bodies? I can understand that. At the same time, you think about committed relationships. How many people are in committed relationships and throughout the whole relationship, if there is no legal marriage, that you guys are using contraceptives? So when I think about it that way, if you've ever been in a committed relationship and the whole time you're in that relationship, you don't use birth control or contraceptive the whole time, that means a pregnancy can occur. Now, just because it did it doesn't make you better than the person that actually did conceive. That's the difference. Because I don't know, and maybe some people are. If you use birth control through your whole committed relationship, then yay to you, especially condoms. But let me say, because I disclaimer, I support condom wearing. I don't know if I believe in birth control though. Now I do realize condoms are a form of birth control. But outside of condoms, anytime I've ever done any other birth control preventative measures, it has backfired on me. So that's why I say I trust the universe. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. It's happening for my good. It's not a bad thing. At least that's how I feel. And the difference between men and women, some women look at, now this is the thing, women will look at men a certain way when they have a lot of baby mamas. But why? It would be nice if we can change our perception, our perspective. Doesn't that mean that several, or could it mean that several women have loved this man enough to bear his children? Isn't that not beautiful? Outside of whether he is taking care of these children or not, um, what kind of man he was in the relationship, somebody, or a lot of somebody, since we're talking about multiple and how many is too many, but somebody's cared enough to bear his seed. Call me an oddball. It wouldn't be the first time, but there's something beautiful about that to me. Um, where can I go with this? Um, there are people that are married, and you can have, because essentially we're talking about procreation. So if, because, and I've seen this on the internet before. Let's go here for a moment. You can have see a woman that has 8 children, 10 children, married, has been married for 20 years, and somebody will be like, she crazy. Why she having all of them children? When did we stop valuing new life? Is that it? Is that what it is, or do you categorize it as something different? Because a married woman, I don't think, and this may take a little twist and turn, I don't think should deny her husband. Well, I'm gonna say a legally married woman because I believe in different kind of marriages. But you should not deny your partner unless there is some like really, really serious case to where you're trying to get away from them and now it's time to leave. And so no intimacy, that is off the table. But decent relationship, healthy relationship, loving relationship. As I stated, people out here doing it. They're enjoying, I hope they're enjoying doing it. The possibility of a pregnancy is really, it's all about how fertile you are. What's for you is for you. Okay, so, and I may be skipping around a little bit. I'm a bit scatterbrained, but y'all stay with me. If someone that is in a legal marriage can have 10 children and people be like, oh, that's so beautiful. But someone that is not legally married, they have 10 children. Now, the lady that was married, let's say she gets a divorce and she's no longer with her legal husband. She's a divorced woman now, but she's had 10 children by the same guy. But then you have a single woman, such as myself, that has 6 children by 5 different men. Why are we looked at differently? Is there really, really a difference? If there is a difference, so it's like a ring makes everything better, or a marriage license makes everything better. For the people that may say, you know, being legally married makes the difference, because there are people that are legally married but unhappy. So you mean to tell me I can be in an unhappy marriage, having child after child after child, which I look, people be together, shit happens. But that woman has is looked at differently than the woman that was in several happy relationships and just happened to bear a child by several different men. Y'all see what I'm trying to say? Am I making any sense, or is this like jibber jabber and it like, lady, you crazy? Ain't nobody with that foolishness. Like, again, I say, how many is too many? Especially when someone doesn't believe in terminating a pregnancy. There's so many different scenarios. What if you're using contraceptives and the contraceptives fail? And um, a pregnancy still occurs. Out of my 6 living children, if I'm not mistaken, 3 of them were birth control babies. Like birth control. One, I was on birth control pills. Another one was an IUD. And then, or maybe 2 of them were birth control pill babies or pregnancies. Well, no, the other one was the patch. I used to, I forgot what the patch is called. So yeah, I have conceived doing, taking, what the heck did I just say? Birth control pills. I have conceived with being on the patch. And then I conceived with an IUD. Now, for my ladies or the men that know a little bit or maybe a lot of bit about birth control, you'd be like, "Whoa, yeah, that it happened. Somewhat of a miracle, eh?" Perhaps. I mean, conception is a miracle. If y'all don't know how conception takes place and the gestation period and all of that, it is freaking amazing. The science behind that will blow your mind. And just off that, life. Why would y'all devalue a woman that's bringing life into the universe just because she's doing it with several people? Is this a hit dog or holler situation? Am I hollering? I don't feel like a hit dog. Not at all. Y'all may see it that way. Who knows? But yeah. Think about so many people that aren't able to have children. What are their views about multiple baby daddies or multiple baby mamas? I wish there was somebody that I can personally talk to that had an opposing view. I've talked about it on different social media sites before. I've seen people, like, women get dragged for having multiple baby daddies. And so, I do my best not to, because I try to be a businesswoman. But some of my personalities they be coming out, and I'll get a little personal on social media. But in the meantime, in between time, a lot of people don't know about my life on social media. I don't post my children a lot. I don't post pictures. When I do things with my children, I'm just not posting stuff like that. And I'm selfish with my social media page. It's about me, not my children and all of that kind of stuff. But when I see people discussing that matter, I say something. I say, well, I'm one of those women What do you think about me? And these are people that are familiar with me because I'm in the lifestyle. I don't want to keep coughing on camera. I don't know how irky and irritating it is, but I have a cold. But when I tell people that I have like 6 living children by 5 different men, most people won't even comment after that. After y'all done keyed, laughed, and talked about a woman that got multiple baby daddies. And I'll be like, well, hey, y'all feel that way about me too? Because the way that people look at me before they find that out, their perception of a woman that has multiple baby daddies, I don't fit that description. Should we stop judging people off statistics? Because are statistics really 100% accurate? Or are there really statistics? Or do we just have opinions or personal experiences? You may have had a personal experience, but that doesn't mean that mode, that's a one size fits all. I have co-parented extremely well with all of my children's fathers, all of them. It was very unique, um, very unique scenario. There's so much I can say. It's such a broad thing. So let me get back to make it real plain. Procreation, the foundation. If procreation is essentially not a bad thing, then procreating with multiple people essentially shouldn't be a bad thing either. That's my logic. Do I have a crazy way of thinking? Perhaps. You know. But that's how I feel. I am looking at a comment. I'm not sure what it says. Thank you for being here. Welcome, 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 welcome. I appreciate your presence, beloved. Do. I would like to think that because I have shared such sacred space with a plethora of gentlemen that I used the word beautiful earlier, but there's something kind of special about that. Continuing someone's bloodline, if we think of it that way, the children are an extension of a bloodline. And I have chosen, because I don't believe, I mean, they were committed, happy relationships at the time. You know, at some point, obviously they had a cutoff date, but we were happy. Definitely at the point of conception. So for me to bear and continue someone's bloodline, you never know what that child is going to produce in the universe, spiritually speaking, real talk, and what the children's children are gonna produce, because it's procreation. Is how much is too much? Seriously, is there a such thing as too much? Not for me. I'm not sure. Y'all give me 1 minute. That I got some medical stuff going on. I'm gonna take care of this real quick, and then if we don't have anybody that wants to come up and share, I'm gonna try to wrap this thing on up. Hey, how y'all doing? I can't see the comments, y'all. Please feel free to come up and so I can hear your voice and let me know what you're saying. I'm gonna take care of this medical situation real quick with my doggone nose running. Cause yeah. My goodness, I tried to be as quick as possible, y'all. Thank y'all for your patience. That was a lot, boy. I tell y'all, the rhinovirus. Yeah, it's trying to run over my nose. With y'all know what I'm saying, but essentially for me, and I, if y'all ever been here with me, y'all know I think differently. I'm just a different kind of being. Um, my perspective about life is it's eccentric. It's like I'm a spirit being, I'm a free spirit, and so a lot of what is societal based, yeah, I'm not a sheep. You're not gonna ever hear me going back, cause no. So essentially, for me, every time I get ready to say something, I think of another. I think of a scenario. It's like, whoa, do I need to say that? Because I was gonna say there's no such thing as too much when it comes to procreation. But as I was thinking that and getting ready to say it, thought about people that have medical problems, people that have substance abuse problems, and things like that. That, that's an ethical thing. Should those people be able to procreate? And what is the cutoff? Especially if with substance abuse. That's a big one. That's a big one. Or if you're dealing with domestic violence, if you're in that kind of unhealthy relationship, then no, please don't procreate. Because life is difficult enough. Children go through enough. So that I think at some point, I don't know what would be too many when you cannot take care of them, and there's no one to take care of them, and children are getting pushed into the system and things like that. Then yeah, maybe we need to cut it off. I don't know if that is way off topic. Everything good? I see my engineer up here. He usually don't pop up like that.
Yeah, everything's good. The link to join is pinned in the chat. If anybody wants to join, the link is pinned in the chat, as you see in the message. So yeah, y'all can just join from there. I was okay. There goes Grizz.
As they say in church, is there one? And yes, there is one. Yo, what's happening?
I will say this though. My view is not opposing to what you're doing. I just, for me, I just took my own path into doing what I did. You know what I'm saying? As far as just my interactions, and that's just me. But I don't think that it's for everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody has to find their own path. You know what I'm saying? Um, just because something is not for me doesn't mean it's a bad thing. You know what I mean? And I think that we as a society has to have to normalize that people could do something different and it doesn't make them a bad person. You know what I mean? I may not agree with something, or I may have a different opposing view, or I may have a different moral view of something, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong because I could be wrong in my moral view, right? There's so many different cultures and there's so many different ways of doing relationships that we don't even know of. We only know of what we know of here. You know what I mean? America is a small part of the world. Culture is a small part of the world. And not only is it a small part of the world, it's a flawed part of the world at that. You know what I'm saying? Like we're flawed. So if we master relationships and that relationship was great, then somebody can have an opinion on what you're doing. But until we do that, then nobody has to have an opinion. But it's on you, Grizz. Go ahead.
I heard you say that, and so many things came to mind. I thought about, and because I know a little bit of where you're coming from, um, it's like there's sacrifices to be made, whether we wait to procreate or whether we procreate early, whether we procreate a lot. If we say, okay, like when it comes to tubalization, and if a male gets a vasectomy, that's them in their plight doing what they feel is responsible. Hey, I've had enough. We ain't doing this no more. Let's go ahead and do something about this situation. There's so many different variables. Um, and that's extreme, but sometimes in life, don't we have to go to the extreme to get things done that we want done? So that's a way to look at it. But I look at surgery and stuff like that. Like, I don't, has anybody ever considered that self-mutilation? You gonna mutilate your body not to procreate something that's supposed to be natural? When, and I say this especially for, and I ain't trying to step on no toes. I'm just letting thoughts fall out the brain at this point. For people that have religious values and things of that nature, if you are a believer and one of them books says to be fruitful and multiply, aren't you supposed to have as many as your higher power give you? Who are you to say, hey, I don't want to, you don't trust the higher power that you serve to know that if they give you 6, then it was meant for you to have 6, to the point to where we do something physically to our bodies, get cut on to stop it. I'm gonna stop right there because there's some heavy stuff right there. We're gonna hear from our other guest that is here on the screen. What's happening, love?
How about Regani? How you doing?
I am doing well at the moment.
So yeah, I had to be silent for a minute because I wanted to chime in, but I was like, I didn't really understand what the topic was. So, but between you and Mr. Best, I was like, okay, so we're talking about procreation. I know in some cultures, because like, so one of my hobbies is learning about culture, people, and the human race and stuff. Right, that's one of my hobbies. And in some cultures, you like once you hit 15 or 18, you're supposed to have a baby. But that's another cultures. Here in America, Well, supposedly here in America, you're supposed to wait till you get married, supposedly. Um, but I know, we have babies having babies. And I know when I first got married, a lot of the top of the question was, "We're gonna have kids. We're gonna have kids." I'm sitting up here like I'm not even thinking about kids. I'm sitting up here thinking about how are we gonna live? How much money can I make? What we doing on our um, my wife, because like I know my wife was talking about, she wanted to have kids and stuff like that. So, and I said, okay. I said, okay. So here's this card. This card says, so kids. So we're gonna put this card on the table, and it's okay. So let's go backwards on the timeline. We're here. What are we trying to do before we have a child? So by the grace of God, we actually have our son. His name is Safarian, and he's a blessing. And I know we were talking about maybe having one more child, and like if it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't. But I feel like men who give vasectomies or women who get their tubes tied, I can't think no more nor less about them. That's their business. I don't, whether it's medical issues or what have you, and but I don't know. I don't feel like we should keep our tubes tied, or get our tubes tied, or get vasectomies. I don't feel like we have to go that extreme just to like stop having babies, if that makes sense. But I know, there are some religions that says, like in the Bible, be like you said earlier, be fruitful and multiply. Because I think it was Abraham. I think it was Abraham who his wife couldn't get pregnant, so God was like, "Okay, I need you to go to her." And then later on, I think Abraham's wife got pregnant later on. So I mean, God is not a God says, "Hey, we need fill the world with children, whatever." But I'm gonna lay my plan right there.
As you were speaking, I thought about a few different things. Because initially, we're dealing with the subject of procreation and how much is too much, but then crossing over into procreating with different people. Like for a woman to have a lot of baby daddies, how much is too much in that sense? And is there a difference between the two? And I went back, you said something about babies having babies, and in other cultures, between the ages of 15 and 18, you are expected to have a child. I thought about, in those cultures, is marriage a part of that also?
Yeah.
And not only that, but if we can take that idea, because I thought about how unlearned I was as a young child, a teenager, really, having my first child. Because I had my first one at age 17. Like, when I was watching my children grow, I especially my girls, I have 3 naturally born girls. Wait, let me count. Shoot. Chakaya, Nikia, Xavier. And now, so I have 4 naturally born girls, but my youngest is only 6. But with my older daughters, they were, when they were teenagers, 16, 17, 18. I don't think one of my children was sexually active at the age of 16. And I thought to myself, wow, she's not even sexually active yet. And when I was her age, I was freaking pregnant. Like, I was a baby. It's just so much to be said about how to procreate, when to procreate, what's ethical, what's acceptable, what's too much. we can go down a rabbit hole. My mind, I'm just like, I'm remembering so many different things now. Like, wow. Because for me, I sacrificed my youth for being a mother. I like, what else was I supposed to do? I wasn't giving the baby away. Like, I did the do. If the do is a crime, I did the crime. I had to do the time, and the time is that long length of parenthood. So yeah, 6 children, 6 living children by 5 different men. It's a lot to say about that. I didn't know if you wanted to say something. I was giving you time to chime in. I know you multitasking and whatnot.
I'm cooking.
Yeah, but it's like I think about the people that I guess plan on having children, that they procreate that way. They're responsible in the way that because I do think you can be irresponsible in having children. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that, you know, that it's still not a beautiful thing, because it's maybe I'm biased towards myself, or because I fit that profile of having a lot of baby daddies.
I
There's
think don't
something
be
beautiful about that, because I've never been unhappy about it. There's never been any drama. At the same time, I can see how it was irresponsible to have children so young, and to maybe not use contraceptives for longer in my committed relationships. But you know, shit should be happening. I'm fertile motor over here. Look,
I mean, I'm playing this. Let me ask you a question. Are all of your kids healthy, well, mentally stable, mentally, emotionally, spiritually stable? And also, too, do you feel like your kids are on the right path?
absolutely.
Then
I
guess what? You're wonderful. Guess what? You've done your job. You're there. If that makes sense.
absolutely, and I can say that in honesty. Um, Not to bash anybody that their children have had legal problems or things of that nature, but my children have never had legal problems. They all finished, at least finished high school, so they have a diploma. They're all working citizens. They add value, in my opinion, to the universe. I mean, I teach my children well. I'm a very insightful individual, and out of the 6, one cannot have children themselves right now. But I only have one grandchild at the moment, and I have 4 adult children from the ages of 21 to 29. So, but amongst those 4 children, I only have one grandchild. So they're doing a lot better than me as far as being responsible to procreate, if you want to look at it that way. As far as
But honestly, that's what we want as parents. We want our kids to be better than us. Like I know my son, he's only 8 years old. Mentally and emotionally, spiritually, my son is a lot smarter and more intuitive than I was at his age. And and he's actually giving me and his mom stuff to think about when me and his mom are like not in the right place. He'll say something and we're like, huh? Who are you? If that makes sense. But yeah, that's what we want as friends. We want our kids to be better than us.
Now, even though I spoke about the beauty that I see with I've extended 5 different men's bloodline. Even though I'm not ashamed of it, I did tell my children, I was very honest with them about, uh, what having children with someone that you're not legally married to is like. And when the relationship ends, how it changes as far as when you do have to co-parent, even if you co-parent well. I've always done well with co-parenting with all of my children, but no matter how well we did co-parenting, we were not together. And so my children didn't get a chance to see me and their father like be in a long-term relationship because they didn't last.
Right.
So I did explain that to them, and only one has a child right now, so we'll see what happens.
And I would say honestly too. So I've been doing some deep diving into, like I said, into history, into America, into what America wants for us. Me personally, I don't want to say. So this has nothing to do with procreation, but it has something to do with a mindset. So I was watching a clip from this movie, and it was this gentleman who was American. He was talking to the Native American, and he was talking about how how the president of the United States wants their land, and he will and they will give them. So the guy was talking to the Americans who said, "We'll give you food, clothing, shelter," and the Native American was like, "We have food, we have everything that we need." And so, but the guy from the United States was like, he was saying, "But but the president, but we want you to dress like us and stuff like that." So what I'm trying to say is, just because one person's lifestyle is good for them doesn't mean that it's good for everybody else, if that makes sense.
I say absolutely. I mean, there's beauty in every situation, depending on what your perspective is, whether you wait to have children, whether
Yeah.
you have children early, whether you have a few children, whether you have a lot of children. When I say that, what came to me next was we just should all make the best of the life, not necessarily that we was given, but just make the best out of life, period. Be
Yeah.
okay with our life choices and make it the best it could possibly be. And if you make it the best it could possibly be, you can't go wrong. Like,
Yeah.
ain't no going wrong with that.
Um, One of my friends reminded me, like we talk all the time. He said something to me a year or two ago. He still saying it to me today. He said, "It's okay with not being okay." And my dad always told me, yes, he says the same thing that you just said. We have to make the best. We have to make the best of everything that we do. Um, as long as you gave 110%, that you know, that's all you can do.
And with that being said, because the beginning of conception is so beautiful and so powerful and so dynamic and so unique, the way that life is created and how it grows,
Yeah.
procreation in itself is just a beautiful, powerful, miraculous thing. We have someone else that has joined the panel. I want to hear from them. Welcome, love. This is your first time, definitely here on screen, but I think you've been here in the chat before, even though I couldn't read your comments or whatnot. Introduce yourself, share your thoughts. I think you're muted, darling. We can hear you now. Are you ready to speak? Are you sharing thoughts?
Yes, I am. Okay, now can you hear me and see me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry for the background noise, but um I heard part of, I was in and out, but I wanted to to ask a question. I think initially, had anybody already spoke on responsibility and or I know you were talking about devaluing, and I wasn't able to kind of hear the responses as the guys were coming on. I might have missed something. I don't want to.
I mentioned responsibility a tad little bit about it's responsible, or some people may find it responsible to wait until a certain age to have children, or a certain financial status. Um, the gentleman that's on the screen, he talked about him and his wife, how after they got married, they wanted to wait and plan, like planned pregnancies are responsible. So just a little bit, but all thoughts are welcome.
I was
Respectful
thinking
thoughts, of
about on
course.
your opening. I'm sorry, am I interrupting?
Go ahead.
Okay. I was thinking about your introduction, and I thought about the emphasis that's placed on procreation being um, miraculous, and procreation being a space of two divine people coming together, and our bodies making that choice of bringing another being in this realm. So I think that that in itself, if we are looking at it in the ideology we place in our mindset, I think that is beautiful. Two people, and I think I heard you kind of hint on, if it's medical, then it may be an issue. If it's, my biggest thing has been, if doing so is irresponsible, most of the time the children bear the cross of the parents in the moments. And when I say in the moments, it could be in the moments 2 years, it could be in the moments 6 years. Because I think I heard you say about domestic violence, or some things like that. I think that those things just are people having uh, sex that choose to, whether it be protected, um, if birth control is a part of it. I think that we have people that are not caring to be anywhere but where they are. And in that moment, I mean, it's great, it's awesome. But I think the children sometimes, again, that's my biggest thing. I work in on the medical side of things, and mentally, it's difficult for the children sometimes. If it's difficult for a married couple to be together and divorce, and the children have problems, chances are, when some children don't even get a chance to have that relationship with their parents, so we go to the next guy, and we're trying to fill that field, or now we go to the next. Okay, that didn't work. I think sometimes discipline and responsibility plays a big part in procreation, and so purpose versus just inaction sometimes, I think, matters. What's the purpose of, even if it's a purpose? I think I heard you talking about bloodline. If there's a purpose for creating with, I think you gave me your code through the phone, but through creating with a person, that, what's the purpose? And so we have so many broken people that aren't whole, and are creating children that in essence others have to provide for. That's that's not a good thing to me. It's not a good thing to have children, and then not just someone else have to take care or provide. And I think I heard you say, if you can't provide for them, maybe that's not the best thing. And at what point do we decide if that's a thing? Because some people are just being delusional. They're in that moment, they're in that rush, they love that feeling that person. And again, I'm not saying like a one night stand. I'm talking about two people that enjoy each other's company. They laugh, they're in that honeymoon phase. They love each other. They like being around each other. Oh, I love them. And more than love, infatuated with whatever ideology they have about that man. Whether I could see him walking across the room and he has cowboy boots and jeans and his legs fit right in them. And it's just something about that we call that chemistry. And so we're in our mind and in our head. And I like I said, my biggest thing is the children. I don't think that it is responsible if two people do not both provide for their children. That's the only thing with broken families, in my opinion, that the children end up suffering more than the adults. The adults are like, oh, we get over it. Oh, my heart's not broken. Oh, I can go forward. I can be with somebody else. But I think the residual that we're seeing on the medical side of course, is the children are having issues. And so that's the only real thing like I said, it's not so much that I disagree with. I think go out and have sex with whomever you choose. How many times? But I think that the responsibility of they can't be that great of a person if they're always having to be in your past. And so,
My.
yeah, that's all.
My. This is why I love having panelists, because my brain moves at such a high speed stuff. It flows in, it flows out, it comes and it goes. This has given me so much to think about. I was wondering earlier if I was biased toward myself, being a woman that has multiple children by multiple different men. Where different men means multiple. So by different men, by multiple men. And for me, because I had to transition from being ashamed to loving myself, in me learning to love myself, did I make excuses for, I don't know if we can say the N word on on YouTube, but Ninja, you got 5 baby daddies. And like you were saying earlier, having fun in the moment. And I mentioned earlier, even if it's a committed relationship, do we really? And I also said that anyone that I'm in a committed relationship with, I'm not willing, or I am willing to marry. And if I'm willing to marry you, I'm willing to bear your child. But was I mature enough? What did I think far enough ahead as far as planning and thinking about life to what if this doesn't work out? Just because I'm willing to marry you, could we make a marriage work? Do we need to be married? And so there's so much to be said. And because there's no way to go backwards and be like, okay, well, what if, we use condoms a little bit longer? Or what if I made them pull out every single time instead of enjoying the moment? Because I be enjoying my moments. Look now, hell. But if I didn't do that, because the children are already here and I already love them and I've seen their personalities and I cannot imagine my life without my children. Right. But just because I can't imagine my life without them, could I have made some different choices? Oh, see, this the rabbit hole going deep. And we lost them. Pardon me, y'all. I got groceries that just came in. And my son was being a good son and putting up the groceries, but the bags was rattling in the background. I don't know if y'all was able to hear that, so I had to pause for a minute to tell the young man, we're gonna have to leave the groceries for a few minutes because mommy's live and I'm live in my living room.
I'm back. Sorry about that, guys.
Stuff happens, but yeah, I was saying there's so much to think about, so very much to think about, because I came into this topic with so much confidence. But I love being enlightened. Like you guys, y'all are tuning in to the intellectual soapbox. That's what channel we're on. We're here to learn from one another, to help one another. Now, you're watching the Sensual Eccentric podcast. And we talking about procreation. How much is too much? And digging off into baby mamas and baby daddies. Ooh, I got a lot of them, y'all. A lot of them.
I had a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm in the woods, so I am. When you say how much is a lot, or what are we doing ratio? Two baby daddies. And I know your numbers, but I wasn't sure what they've said because I know the guy spoke. I would have loved to be able to hear what a guy was thinking. But is it? I'll go back and listen later. But is it two children, or you have four but two baby daddies? Like if it's split, was there a consensus on about how much
Well,
is
no,
too
that's
much?
the thing. Like different people's opinions. How much is too much for you? What would be too much? What makes an individual person go, "Whoa, that's too much"? What makes someone as an individual look at somebody differently and devalue them because of how many children they have or how many children they have by how many different people? So
When you say devalue, do you mean not valuable enough to stand beside me, or just look down upon them? Just to how when you say devalue?
oh, I've heard women get drugged through the mud for having multiple baby daddies. It's like they're not valuable because they done had all of these children by all of these different men. So ain't nobody gonna want you. Ain't nobody gonna take care of you and all them doggone kids. But people always reduce it to take care of. Every woman with multiple children or that has multiple baby daddies, as you know, I'm keeping it hood, don't need to be taken care of. But society sometimes can have such a finite and shallow way of thinking that because of our personal life experiences, which are small in themselves, because a lot of us are not well traveled. We haven't seen a whole lot. We ain't seen a woman with 8 children by 6 or 7 different men that got her own money and she handling business. And it ain't no baby daddy drama. She just got a lot of damn kids by a lot of damn men. She don't need taken care of. She just maybe she'll love a girl.
Psychology says she's insecure. Psychology, like you said, society. I go, of course, on medical side, says that she's insecure just the same as a man. I think I put that in the description you were talking. I'm like, well, men, they hold just the same thing. They oftentimes are not valuing themselves at whatever point that they're in life at that time. I think I think that sometimes society base it off of studies, and then they break a piece of the study off, and then they present it to people, and then they have a saying for it, and then it continues to be broken off until it's like, oh no, you can't talk to her. She's like you said, she didn't have so many guys. I think sometimes with my male friends, because I have a lot of male friends, they talk about stacking up numbers as opposed to just the children. They can love the kids, they love the kids, but the fact of thinking that this woman has been with multiple men in different times, and how she may have not been disciplined to have a standard for herself, even though she could have been growing and she could have been doing things different. But medically, it says that men or women that are sleeping consistently with other people, and I'm not saying, again, one night stands. I'm saying they go from one frayed relationship to another frail relationship, to another broken relationship, to another broken home, then it's a reason. It becomes a cycle. And we can dress it up and put a crown on it and call it power. You do have the ability to do it, but that doesn't, just because you have the ability doesn't mean we always practice in it. Um, we tell, and again, I'm not telling somebody, oh, abort. I don't believe in abortion, me personally. However, when clients are coming in, yes, we want to know what is it, and how are you going to be able to change from what you did the last time? Because if they're coming to us, they're coming because they need assistance. And so, do they have careers? Some of them do, but those relationships, and depending on how many children, it gets tight. And so I still, again, at the end of the day, my biggest thing is, yes, discipline is important. I think the children suffer in those relationships that may not have, again, and they could have extra structure. Like you said, the woman that may have all the money, she has all the money, but she doesn't have the partner, but maybe she has a brother, or maybe she has an extended family that actually, helps or assists in those situations. Um, so it does become a question. So I love the topic, but for me, it's just, what do the children suffer at the expense of the parent? And so I remember, because my mother has 10 children, and even without it saying how many daddies and all, it was just like, that lady got 10 children. And so, again, but me as the child, I went to school and I had to deal with that without me having my own identity yet. Without me, it doesn't matter what my mom wasn't embarrassed by. It doesn't, and not that I was embarrassed, but I've had to fight. I've had to bust somebody in the mouth, like, need stop disrespecting my mama. But we don't think about that, because, again, she's grown. She's like, I ain't worried about what them people say about you. Don't. But I have to begin to identify myself. And so now I'm having negativity brought in my space that I didn't even create for myself. And so learning to deal with other people's baggage when it's not, and then again, it becomes a vicious cycle that you try not to repeat as you get older. And so my mind was, I don't believe in being poor or broke and having children. Like, that was I'd be damn if I'm gonna be broke and have children. Like, no, I didn't. So, yeah.
I want to stop you for a moment
Just
because
let me know when I can talk, sis. All right.
say that again.
Let me know when I can talk.
Okay, give me. I want to get a couple things out. Because my brain is just going. Freaking A, I think I'm losing my train of thought. You were talking about the children, how you suffered because your mom was the woman that had 10 children. I mentioned there early, like, if there's a woman that's legally married and she may have had a lot of children with her husband, people look at, like, she got all of them. I don't understand why having a lot of children seems like it's a bad thing. But then when you spoke on carrying the weight of somebody else's actions, like, she done dealt with whatever, but we don't know what the children are going through. I am losing my train of thought. It might come to me. We're gonna hear what Mr. Best has to say. Share your thoughts, darling.
Thank you, sister. Appreciate both of you sisters being on here. I will say this: I don't. I think within our culture of race, it's not the amount of kids that's a problem. I just think within our culture and race, we just have a problem with
Okay.
having
I'm
peace or
back.
even attaining peace. You know what I mean? So you can have people who have no kids and they're not peaceful and they don't have structure and stability. You got somebody that has 70 kids. No, that's a big number. but and they have no peace and no love and no stability. It's just a cultural thing. It's just a thing within our culture and within the diaspora. You know what I mean? Where we don't value peace, we don't promote it. When somebody is trying to have peace, we put them down or we shame them. You know what I mean? Instead of us actually encouraging them or helping them to grow or be better, we don't do that. We do the opposite of that, and this is the real problem. The real problem isn't about the children per se. You know what I mean? And this doesn't matter if you're in the Americas, doesn't matter if you're in the Caribbean or Africa or wherever else. Within the diaspora, we just have that issue. Now, I believe that's an issue that can be unresolved, but because of that, the kids suffer, right? Our kids suffer based on that. The adults
I
suffer
mean,
based.
could you tell me based on what? I missed it because my internet was going out.
Oh no, it's
You
okay. It's okay, family. I would say within our race and our culture, we don't promote peace, stability, and love,
yes,
and that's really the main issue.
it
You know
is.
what I mean? And because of that, the children suffer,
Mhm.
and because the adults have probably been suffering for years already, and now you're bringing a child into this, and that's even worse. So that really to me is the main issue. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that a person shouldn't have. I'm not even saying what those things. That there's certain key things or certain key elements that still have to be there to have a child. Of course, you mentioned finances. You mentioned other parts of things that need to be in order. Correct. And I'm not disputing none of that. But what I'm saying is that those things would be there if we already have the first three that I'm talking about, which is stability,
Mhm.
love, and peace. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The Bible calls it the fruits of the spirit. It kind of gets more into it, but and I can go spiritual, but I'm not going to go fully down that road. But there's some truth in it because if you're not working within the fruits of the spirit, as the Bible says, um, then your life is full of turmoil. And a lot of times we don't work within that. So we see a lot of turmoil, we see a lot of things going on, and and that's why we have so much so much dysfunction when it comes to parenting or when it comes to people having children. That's why it's there. Because it's already within our culture. If it's already within the foundation. You know what I mean? So now the kids are impacted by that. I'll land there.
That's a word right there. In addition to that, I thought about my thought came back to me from earlier. Socially, speaking in particular about women that got a lot of baby daddies. Is it for a man like socially unacceptable amongst his peers as to, because statistically there are more women to be chosen from than men. So it's like out of all the women you have to choose from, you choose this woman that got all these doggone children, and so he gonna get roasted because he with the woman that got 8 kids by 7 different men. And so it makes me think about, is it not socially acceptable when we take away, what's responsible and what's not responsible, when we take away if it would be healthy, if it's going to put my life in danger or put the child's life in danger, let's just say, I'm over what doctors say is the childbearing age. It gets complicated after, I don't know if it's the age of 40 or 42. So they talk about how difficult it is to conceive and how many birth defects can happen after a certain age, yada 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 yada. So do I look at that and be like, well, I shouldn't be having children because this could happen? But when it comes to religious people, like, God don't make no mistakes. So if the child is going to have a birth defect, who am I to mutilate my body to not have another child when all children are perfect in God's eyes? But that steered away from being socially acceptable, with men and their peers choosing a woman that got a lot of baby daddies. And I wonder if that is a thing in our society.
I'll cover that as a man. Or as a man, or I would just say as a person, period. Anybody that is worried or concerned about what somebody else thinks about their relationship is insecure and immature. They don't need to be in a relationship. You need to figure yourself out first if you're worried about other people. And that's another problem in our relationships. We're too concerned about what other people think. We're too concerned about what the church thinks. We're too concerned about what our family thinks, what our friends think, what celebrities think, and they ain't even paying us no mind. We're too concerned about what other people think that is not going to live in our homes and is not going to contribute to the relationship, period. You know what I mean? If we can get out of that and we can stop trying to chase what we see on TV, or we can stop trying to chase people's approval on any scale, we can have some really great relationships. But we're so concerned about a lot of times what other people think, and those people ain't gonna do nothing but just talk and not do anything to help your actual relationships. You know what I mean? They're just gonna give you a lot of word salad. That's about it. There'll be no contribution at all. Only thing that can contribute is something possibly negative. And a lot of times, in a lot of instances, or even if it is something positive, it can't be truly positive if it's not there to help. So that's really the thing. So if a man is concerned about what his friends think or what men online think or whoever else, then he's not really a man. And he's not really a valuable human being. And that's not somebody you should even entertain as a woman or as a person, or whatever, or for those who date the same gender or whatever the case may be, because I don't want to offend people who do. You know what I mean? If somebody's so concerned about what you're doing, you know what I mean, and then you're concerned about it, why? They don't matter. They're not gonna live in your home. They're not gonna pay none of your bills. They're not gonna contribute to anything within what you're doing. You know what I mean? Stop trying to basically allow your happiness to be affected or impacted by others, you know what I mean, who don't matter. You know what I mean? Stop. And even if they do matter, you know what I mean, it can't be to the point where they are completely taken away from something that you love to do, or somebody that you really love to be with. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'll land there.
I totally agree with that. I think about, though, how we have been programmed to care what society says. It takes me back to the topic we did about designer delusion. A lot where ain't nobody wearing that, ain't nobody doing that. The more a man will hear, don't nobody want no woman with a lot of children, because they've heard that so much, they won't even consider a woman that has more than two or three children. They think it's too much. They not trying to go there because of what they've been programmed. It's just so embedded in their system, and so they stay away from it. Like people say no to drugs. It's like a woman with a lot of children or a lot of baby daddies, that's a bad deal right there. You don't want to, and so most of the time we're not considered.
I think it goes back to what he said earlier, though. I think because men value peace, and so they're not sure if this woman is not stable enough. If this one is she, and so that's something that if he gets past that part, men pay attention more than women to us. They pay attention to us. So dealing with us a few times.
I think we lost her for a moment. Did we lose her?
Yeah, I'm not sure when she's gonna catch up. Oh, I see a comment, and I was actually able to read it.
It's not
Let's
going
see.
right. Okay. I am in the woods.
You back,
I know. I'm like, oh my gosh,
Hold on
I'm in
one
the
second,
woods.
family. Give me a second. He said, in my view, single parents need to be with single parents. And listen, I do get that aspect. You know what I mean? That could build a more healthier, stable home in some aspects
No,
because there's a
no,
commonality there. Um,
no.
but I will say this. That in regards to what the sister was just saying, I think I think peace is not a gender thing. I think it's a people thing. People require peace. Like we all require peace. I know. There's women that
No.
require peace. I know men require peace. I know
Yeah.
we all require peace as as functional people. But I think I'm gonna share the story real quick and then I'll let y'all rock. Um, I was talking to one of my ancestors and it was like, you know what? I wish I would have traveled like you did. I wish I would have did this. I wish I would have did that. But I was too busy, taking care of kids. I was too busy doing this. I was too busy doing that. It was like I wish I would have seen the world and this, that, and the third, or just experienced life. And what it allowed me to see is that life isn't a video game. You only get one of these things.
You only give.
And if you don't do and you don't be with who you want to be with, and you don't do the things that you want to do, just like the family member who has everything, who has nothing to worry about, right? From a financial standpoint, you're gonna live with regret, and that money will not be enough.
Yes.
It won't. You know
I
what I mean?
agree.
So I think people have to understand that. Be with who you want to be with, love who you want to love, and don't care about what nobody got to say because you will live with regret if you don't. And I land there. Go ahead, sister. I'm sorry. Oh,
Oh
sisters.
no, you're fine. My internet go. My internet is horrible, but it's just what you were saying. It's not so much that of course, I'm speaking from hearing men talk about women. And so I wasn't speaking as far as women don't value peace or anything like that. But I do know that um, the the stability portion, the peace and acting in love for one another, even if things don't work, as she said, then it does create a different type of relationship. Oh my gosh, it's such a big head. But it creates a different type of relationship, and um, I don't think it's devaluing. I think that they sometimes feel that they value themselves more than to want complexity that they didn't place there themselves. And so people sometimes fear what they don't understand. And then, like I said, if they can get past the initial conversation, they may learn more about that person. And to know that, okay, maybe I was a widow. Maybe I ended up with another man. We've been together 10 years, or especially when you get in your 40s and 50s, stay. Especially when you get into your 40s and 50s, then you have people that have experience. And so if you've had experience, stay. If you've had experience, then you know that maybe I've have had a marriage, or maybe I did get divorced. And so I understand that portion. It's just for me, medically, I want women to, or men to, value themselves enough to think, yes, if I would marry this person, then why? And then how does that look going forward if we have children? And then the children, if we make that choice to leave whatever situation for whatever reason outside of abuse or whatever, but people say we grow apart, we do this, then I say, how does that affect the children? Not what your pastor going to think or what stay or anything like that, but what um the children, how they're going to be emotionally. Yes, I do believe that they can have therapy, or you can communicate and they begin to learn what those dynamics look like. But I think that we should just take that into
Absolutely. Galaxy, you still there, sis? I know you had to step away for a moment.
I sure am. Yeah,
considering you
I'm
and you
listening
all.
to
I will
every
be back.
word.
I will be back.
Oh, we getting ready. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it on down.
Stop. I'm sorry. It's a big pet.
I appreciate you. I'm gonna do my final thoughts. There has been so much said here this evening. If you have to go now, go ahead and go. But okay. So let me do this before you go ahead and give your final thoughts, if you
My
don't mind.
final thoughts is I've enjoyed everything. I think that we all can learn something from listening to. Well, you better not jump on me. This is a big cat about the size of a panda. Stop. They have cats here, and it's just anyway. But I just think that we all learn something from each other. So, like you said, oh, I've been humbled in this situation. Me myself, it's like I said, I'll go back and listen. But overall, I think it's a great topic, and I'll be back.
Thank you so much for sharing space with us. You could have been anywhere doing anything, but you are here. And me trying to be professional, I'm gonna step outside of profession a little bit and just let everybody know that is one of my best friends. Y'all have heard me say on this podcast before, especially when I talk about women that hold other women accountable, and I don't have the type of friends that are going to enable my BS. If anybody remembers me talking about my friend that when it comes to when me being out of order and out of place, sometimes I hate to call her, be like, why I call her? Cause she gonna get me together every freaking time. When I say every freaking time, snatch me up like it'd be crazy. But yeah, and when it comes to relationships, she ain't never on my side. I tell you, that is the friend I was talking about that is an advocate for men. Like that woman, an advocate. Look, mm, mm, mm. So I had to step outside of being professional and be like, my friend, yeah, because she's a very busy person, and she actually came on screen this evening. Doggone it. Let me see if I can do an overview. Oh my gosh, it was such an enlightening conversation. I said a little while ago, I came into this conversation, into this topic, like so confident. Like, okay, so what? I got 6 children by 5 different men. Life is beautiful, blah, 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 blah. And 3/4 into the podcast, I'm like, oh, I think I'm being biased towards myself. And I'm generally not a biased person. I see the big picture. But what I love about myself is the few times I've noticed my bias, I can pick up on it quickly. Like, ooh, that's bias. So I've seen the irresponsibility. I think I've always understood why men overlook women that has a lot of children, or a lot of children by a lot of different men. But some of the things that were brought out, like men valuing their peace, and what was the other one? Talked about whether they've been programmed by society to just overlook that. It was really, really something. After today, I'm gonna go love on my I'm love on my children a little bit more. I want to leave y'all with this. I'm not sure if this is my final thought. I'm getting there. Y'all don't jump off the train now. This might not be the stop. What I want to say to the men: if you are a man that has children, no matter how much you and the child's mother may not get along, no matter how difficult she may be, no matter how many differences you guys have, try as much as possible, if you can, to honor that woman, if not for the simple fact that she continued your bloodline. That is a very special, beautiful gesture of love. Even if it wasn't love, that's what else would it be? Care, respect, loyalty. Even if it wasn't that, God damn it, it got done. The bloodline lives on because she chose to bear the fruit. And vice versa to the women. Like, children are such a blessing. Let us not go around bashing our baby mamas and our baby daddies, because at one point we at least liked them enough to do the do. You feel me? What Smokey Mama said on Friday? No. Smokey was like, this ain't enough. She said, make it enough. If it ain't enough, we gotta make it enough. In my final thoughts, I still don't know if or what is too much. I don't know. I don't think, as I was saying earlier, I don't think I have a limit on how much is too much. Unless there's some emergency situation that you really know, like, and this can be an ethical thing too, like when you absolutely know you should not be having children. When we get to that point, then whatever number you're at right there, having one more will be too much. Hopefully that makes sense. This is the Sensual Eccentric Podcast, episode 14. We will see y'all next week, hopefully same time, same place. We have a comment. It says, no, but men don't think women are less valuable as human beings. It's a comparison in the dating market, and sometimes some women don't understand the difference that makes. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe I spoke on that, because there's more women to choose from for men than it is for women to choose as far as men. And so since y'all have more to choose from to choose a woman that has a lot of children by a lot of different men, may be like, bruh, what you doing? Like, but then that will go back to preference. But the same thing, like when it comes to having a variety or a plethora of people to choose from, we could say the same thing about plus size women and how a lot of plus size women are devalued and overlooked because of their size and their weight. And men and their peers would look at him like, you mean to tell me you can pick this size woman, but you pick that size? Like, why would you do that? We spoke on it. We gonna get to it, y'all. So much more to be talked about on the Sensual Eccentric Podcast. So you know what you need to do? Subscribe to the channel. We here mostly at the same time, same place, every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Join us. We got a lot to say. It's the intellectual soapbox, baby. See y'all next time.
And then I will make it real indeed. Don't say time to go. No, I know you got some to spare. We've been fighting feeling when it's obvious that we both care.